Hello, students. You are going into week 5. You had your exam 1 in week 3. Because some of you all did not take the exam on time, I could not come back and give this, just a quick review in preparation for exam 2 in terms of advice until everyone completed exam 1. Now that everyone has completed exam 1, I'm able to go in and just give you guys some quick tips before I give you an update for this week for exam 2. So let me keep this here. All right. So one of the questions that was asked to you all and that several got incorrect that I wanted to cover is this question here. And it says, what should one do if the results of the experiment consistently do not support the original hypothesis? A lot of you chose change the hypothesis to match the results, okay? The reason why that response is false is because that is actually unethical. You never want to change your hypothesis based off of your results. Your hypothesis should be developed based off of your background, lit review, you reading papers, but it should never change based off of the results you get. What you can do if your results after continual investigation and experimentation, if your results do not support your hypothesis, then you can reject your hypothesis and then create a new hypothesis, but you can never change it to match your results, okay? You can never change your hypothesis to match your results. You can reject your original hypothesis and then formulate a new hypothesis, but it should never be solely to match the results, as that is, again, unethical. The other question that was incorrect for a lot of you was this question right here. And the question was, it gave you a picture of a type of cell, and you were asked to determine what type of cell it was. Now, one thing that I want you to always pay attention to when you're looking at cells, you want to pay attention to and ask yourself the following questions. Does it have a nucleus? Well, we know that this one has a nucleus. So because it has a nucleus with a nuclear membrane, as you see here, we can rule out it being a bacterial cell. Okay? Because of the cell wall, that's an indication that it is most likely a plant cell. But another key component that would have been helpful is this vacuole here. Okay, this vacuole, and you can see there's chloroplast. So because of those two things, the answer is a plant cell. So whenever you're looking at a cell, pay attention to the organelles within, okay? The organelles, pay attention to the type of organelles that are present. And if you see organelles that are unique to plant cells, okay, then you clearly know it cannot be an animal cell. All right, so that was the second question that a lot of you got wrong that I thought was a pretty easier question, okay? So as you're doing your exams, you are allowed to use notes in your textbook, but you do have to use another source. So unfortunately, what you'll need to do is have a tablet or another computer close by, or just have a printed out a version of the book with you, whether it's a hard copy or maybe notes from the textbook printed out. You can use your notes, but you cannot use those or access those things while you're taking your test. And this is because, as you'll see, you have to use Lockdown Browser, okay? Lockdown Browser is required for all of the exams here. I've been talking about it from day 1 in the class, and you'll see that from week 1, Lockdown Browser has always been there for you to check. It says we respond as check, requires Lockdown Browser. So if you would have clicked on this, it would have automatically took you to a quiz, which is really just to determine if your computer is compatible, okay? So if you are not able to access that, or your computer was not compatible and you didn't find out until the day of the exam, it's because you did not click on that link that was present in every week leading up to the exam, okay? You are now going into week 5 and you're preparing for exam 2. This exam also requires, as you see, Lockdown Browser. And if you click on week 5, reading assignment, you'll see that these are the chapters you need to be reading in preparation for the exam 2. It's week 4 and week 5 chapters, okay? So you'll see here that it's chapter 7 and 11, which is dealing with DNA structure and gene function and DNA technology. If you click on here for exam preparation, it gives you the chapters that you'll need, okay? So you want to make sure you go back over that information and you're checking for those reading assignments. Now remember, I give the chapters for all the exams, so you'll need 8, 9, and 10, and then the previous chapters that I just mentioned if you're using the newer, the required book. If you're using the additional resource book, it's 6, 7, and 8, okay? So what you're gonna do before you log in to take the exam, make sure your space is cleared, make sure you have whatever resources you needed that are approved, and then make sure it's quiet. Make sure that the atmosphere, the environment that you're taking your test in is one that will allow you to focus on the questions at hand and to take your test, okay? It is a timed test, and so you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to complete it in the allotted time. Again, you can use resources, but it cannot be directly through the same computer that you're using to take your exam. You cannot take your exam on an iPad if it does not allow lockdown browser. All right. If you have any questions, please, I'm happy to help you. Send me an email or send me a message. I try to respond within 48 hours to any of your questions that you have. So please, please, please make sure you reach out if you have any questions. I want to strongly tell you all not to wait until the last moment, the last day to take your exam, because anything can happen, okay? Anything can happen, and so you don't want to wait until Sunday to take your exam, because if something happens, I may not see your email in the time allotted, and then you can't complete your exam. Okay, moving forward, if you miss that exam time and you do not have a valid excuse, points will be deducted if you need to take the exam and you miss it for an unexcusable reason. All right, so prepare again this week to take exam 2. You'll notice that there is a discussion. So in addition to reading, you have a discussion which asks you to identify an animal toxin and describe the therapeutic use of the toxin. You can choose whatever that toxin is, okay? That's up to you. I don't require you to discuss a specific one. Find one that is interesting to you and then create a discussion board for it. Keep in mind you have to have 3 total posts, and it needs to be, your first post needs to be done before Thursday, okay? Before Thursday. That way it gives other people time to respond to your post. All right? If you have questions, again, at any time, reach out to me. I also wanted to point out, let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. How to use your textbook, okay? So when you click on the chapter, which you'll see here, let's go back. Now, again, my view is going to look a little different, but you'll find the link directly for each chapter. If you click on the link, it should take you, you can click launch, and it'll take you to the textbook, okay? Again, yours is going to go straight there, but I have a different view as faculty. But ultimately, you're going to go in, and it's going to take you directly to the chapter, okay? You can, if you're doing something where you can't read it, you can always click on the volume, and it'll read for you.
Unit 2 DNA.
Okay.
Inherit.
So please go through and read the chapter, make notes if you need to. You can definitely study well with this, okay? It gives you figures and explains these figures for you. So please utilize the resources that are provided for you, okay? One of the questions I know that you're going to be asked about, or something that will help you, is understanding the cell cycle, right? So during the cell cycle, when the cell is preparing to duplicate its genetic information or its DNA, it's going to happen during interphase, okay? Interphase. So that's very important for you to understand the purpose of the cell cycle. The cell cycle is going to duplicate the genetic information, the DNA, and it's also going to duplicate the organelles within, okay, to make 2 cells. So again, make sure you're reading the content. There's even mastering questions that should help you if you're a more visual learner. There's videos in here and to help you. So please reach out again if you have any questions. I'm happy to meet with you if you set up a time in Teams. All right.